I just hope someone reaches out and comes on here with us, because I think that, obviously I know my truth. Mom knows her truth. You know your truth, and it's all our truths, right? So, but you might have your truth.
Yep. And I want to
hear it.
I really do.
Right.
Yep. And Mom.
Yes.
If we don't get the opportunity to have somebody sit here and have that truth spilled, what would you say to Hillary if she was sitting here? To her face. Thank you to all of those who have subscribed recently. That has been a huge boost. Don't think that we haven't noticed. We love the comments, we love the engagement, we love the views. And the thing that helps us the most is every time our subscribers go up, we reach more people and we're able to keep producing higher quality videos. So please, if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button and let's get on to the show. Welcome to Bear It All, the Kintsugi Chronicles, here on the I Am Not Okay channel, where we gather our broken pieces in search of gold. My name is John Bear, and we have the band back together today. I am surrounded with Holly Bear and MJ Bear. And today, our topic, well, before we get into our topic, I want to say that I am very glad and happy that we are all sitting here together. And I want you both to know that it's very important that you both show up and are feeling like this is a place where you guys can say anything that you want to. And I want you both to know that, because it's important for me to actually hear what you have to say. Thank you guys for being here today. Mom, what's today's topic?
Today's topic is, we're going to start delving into some of the documents that I've been referencing as we go on with these videos. And as I've said before, it's important, I believe, for individuals to actually see and hear how absolutely vicious these relationships can and often do become. When I was looking for information, the one thing I wasn't finding was specific data on what this person went through. I can say to both of you, I was abused by my family. If I don't say anything more than I was abused, it now leaves it up to you to define what that abuse is. Your definition, everybody's definition, unless you specify what is the abuse that you're discussing. Do you know what I'm saying?
Well, kind of. Can you give an example? Are you talking about like between emotional abuse and physical abuse, like a distinction? Is that what you mean? What do you mean by that?
What do I mean? I mean, this is an email that I've referenced several times.
Okay.
That I received on April 8th, 2008.
Okay.
It was sent to me anonymously, allegedly. And that's the other thing I want to discuss here is I want to explain to you how I go about investigating these things. Mm-hmm. There's very specific criteria. The email contains a lot of information. Mm-hmm. When you take all of this information, this is physical. Some of it is circumstantial. But when you can answer the question, who had the means, the motive, and the opportunity to do this? Those are the three questions we need to answer in order to determine who sent the email, who wrote the email. And I want to show you how I do that so that you understand I'm not just attempting to destroy anyone here. This is what happened. Mm-hmm. It's important that you and Holly understand what happened. Mm-hmm. I think it's important for anyone listening to understand what happens in these families.
Okay, so where would you like to start today?
Holly's going to read the email.
Okay, great.
Okay, we'll post it on the video.
I'll make sure everybody sees it.
And then what I want to do is discuss the contents of the email. Mm-hmm. And as I go through that, I'll show you and I'll tell you how I arrived at these conclusions so that I'm absolutely certain I know who sent this.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah. Holly, you ready to kick it over?
Okay. It starts off, this letter is coming to you from a family member of yours. It is being written because not only am I sick of you, but so is everybody else. Here are some definitions from dictionary.com to describe to you what, in fact, you yourself really are. Crazy, insane, psychopath. A psychopath, yes, that is what you really are. You have no real feelings, no remorse, no love. You don't even have a heart as far as I'm concerned. But I guess none of us will know that until you're on the chopping block. We will definitely be getting you an autopsy. I think I will need to know specifically how and what killed Evil. Because unlike the rumor that evil never dies, someday you, my friend, will. And unlike the fast and speedy leave no evidence of the cremation your son had, I think I can say confidently that your surviving family will want to know exactly what it was that did your crazy ass in. Now, I know that none of this will affect you because you don't have a conscience or a heart, but do you know that you are being watched, that everything you have done for the last 25 years is being documented? That yes, we have a file to use against you in court, hopefully to get you locked up until your end of days. I only write this letter because I want to make it more than crystal clear that you are not wanted in this family any longer. We believe that you were sincerely hurting from the loss of your son, but in fact, it must have been exhilarating for you. It was another chance for you to be center stage. The third act must go on. Right, Mary Jo? Well, bravo. You're a fabulous actress. Act like you really cared about Tony. Go ahead. Keep the act up. It's very entertaining. Why didn't you go string him up yourself? You virtually have. You made that beautiful young man, with everything going for him, believe that no one loved him, because in the cold, harsh reality of daylight, no one loves you. From here on out, no one wants to hear from you. Save your fucking breath and spare all of us. As you have suspected in the past, we no longer care about you. Not only have you ruined your life, but now you've ruined each of ours by taking Tony away from us. Your actions have cost each of us our beloved Tony. You drove him to the point of no return. You don't love your son, and you never did. We will not help you. You are no longer part of this family. So please send no more letters, make no more accusations, call us no more. You are done. And before I am done with this letter, I would like to say, I hope this letter enlightens you, although I know in my real heart that it can't, because you were so fucked up, you were beyond repair. Well, I've said my piece, along with several others, and I just wanted you to know that this letter was typed on a public computer, sent to you from a public computer, sent to you from an email address that has been registered in your name, so you will never, ever know who sent this to you. I sincerely hope that it pushes you over the edge, and don't forget to take your other 2 children with you. Goodbye, Mary Jo. The games are over, and you just lost in a big, bad way. See you never. Oh, and by the way, thanks for what you did do.
Initial reaction or initial
Holly?
thoughts?
The person who wrote this is the one that is all of these things from dictionary.com. Crazy, insane psychopath. You weren't a part of my fucking family. Okay, number one. My immediate nitty gritty, grow up with every single morning, go to school with. You weren't a part of that. I was. John was. My mom was. And so was Tony. So for you to lay into somebody how they're acting about their son just dying, like, you're a true fucking psychopath. You're attacking my mom in here about how you don't love your son, how you should have just killed him yourself. You should have done all these things. And it's mind-blowing that somebody who thinks that they aren't these things could type this, go to a public computer, make up a fake email address. Like, you were truly a psychopath. Who has time for this?
You're truly something.
And the last line. So I know how you felt about Tony. I know how you felt about Tony, and I certainly know how I felt about Tony. Anybody else on this planet didn't love that kid as much as any one of us did. And I truly believe that. Okay? They weren't there for him. They weren't for any of it, really. He didn't have heartfelt conversations with any single one of them except Jimmy, okay, who is no longer with us. So it's funny that the last line is take your other 2 kids with you. Jump off a cliff and take your other 2 kids with you. Mm-hmm. But since this letter, you reach out, you try to get involved in your life or my life, not knowing that we already read this.
Or knowing that we already read it and not caring and thinking that somehow we forgot about it and that it is in our past and that we should just forget it. And I don't know how you forget something like that. And the truth is, can I forgive the person that wrote that? Yeah, sure, absolutely. I actually can. Because what I know is whoever's living with that shit between their ears, that's a hell I don't want.
Correct.
Do you know what I'm saying? So to be able to go there and take out your anger and hate or pain, and we've all sat here and talked about how we have hurt and we have hurt people. Isn't that like example number 1 of you made us hurt, so I'm going to make you hurt back? Mm-hmm. So yes, this letter actually now highlights everything in one microcosm of what our whole lives have been like.
Correct.
What you said is not what you said. What you believe is not what you believe. Oh, we didn't write it down. Oh, wait, yes, you did. So at the end of the day, like, it was hurtful to get in the moment. And now, 16, 17 years later, I can look at it with different eyes, through a different lens, and realize, like, how upset and hurt that person was to be able to be in a place to write that to us. So I really hope that person has moved on and, like, maybe, I don't know, find something else to hate, find something else to shit on, or focus your attention on. I believe we're talking about it today so that we can get on with it. Because this is clearly stuck in your craw for a while. And I remembered these things. You asked me before we turned everything on, like, why did I save these letters?
Yes, I did.
I think it was for moments like this. I didn't know they were coming, but I wanted to be ready.
I think it's always, as far as letters and things, you know, you might forget something you say, right? Oh, I didn't say that. But when it's in black and white and you can be like, but you did. Mm-hmm. You did.
Yeah.
That's the good thing about having something evidentiary to be like, you did say that. And you said a lot of other shit too. Mm-hmm. And it's fucked up.
Yeah.
Now, I'm going to be honest with you. I never read this.
You didn't even know that existed.
I knew it existed.
You never read it.
I never read it. I heard about it.
Yep.
I was told snippets and here and there. So to read this for the first time now.
Yeah, now.
It hurt a little bit. And in the same breath, it was like, this is what you chose to do in that moment.
Yeah. So it says a lot about a lot of things.
Right.
You know?
It's,
The flip side of that is there was a reference in there about, well, contrary to popular belief, you know, you will die even though somebody says evil will not die. I know the reference. I have no doubt that there are things that I wrote in particularly, right? I'm pretty sure I put some blogs on my MySpace.
You did.
I did.
Well, you told me about it, and then my father told me about it.
Yeah, because either he went and saw them or had them downloaded.
Not stalking you at all.
Sure. So anyway, yes, I said things, and I probably said them out the side of my mouth at that time. I posted it on my MySpace, and it was ominous, and, oh, I can see what you're doing without saying who you are, which sounds like this is very similar. And the truth is, evil doesn't die. And we might die, I don't know if we're truly evil. So for this person to write that, they were in a place where they hurt, and I can see that now. I can look at that.
There's a lot of projecting here.
There's some.
I think, onto hurt someone else because you took our beloved Tony from us. Now,
did we really,
But was he really yours to begin with?
He was a part of our family that they were a part of, so in some way they have a connection. We can't take that away.
No, absolutely not.
Was he in your blood family, like you said, the day to day, the minute to minute, the school day stuff, the hard times? Not the way you're attempting to project that he was.
Correct.
And I hear you. I get what you're saying.
So this is the things that people say when they didn't get to say enough to that person. Why weren't you, they made a reference that mom made it seem like Tony wasn't loved. Well, since you loved him so much, why didn't you make him feel loved? Why didn't you project that onto him to make him be here a little bit longer? If you truly believe that is the reason that he is no longer with us, why weren't you the one to step up and say, hey, I love you. Hey, I'm here. No,
Holly, this is a great point. I mean,
so I'm sure, I told Tony I loved him every single day. Did he hear me? I don't know.
Yeah.
But was it said? Absolutely. Just like I tell you I love you. Just like I tell mom 100 times a day I love her. But do you always hear me? You might not. Tony might not have felt loved or whatever, but there were certainly a lot of other people crying at that funeral saying, I loved him so much, but yet the reason he's no longer here is because he didn't feel loved. So I would love to know.
Yeah, thoughts on that?
Thoughts?
Oh, I got some.
Okay.
So, yeah, if he was so unloved by the people that were his immediate family, why did he not feel like he could go to anybody else that he actually knew and talk to if he was so unloved? I.e., if he would have felt loved somewhere else, don't you think he would have felt like he had the environment and the space to talk about things that were hurting him?
If he felt the same way that they're saying they felt, absolutely. You would come to that person that you deeply loved and say, hey, I'm fucked up. I need some help. I'm not right.
Did you ever know anybody growing up who did that? Who grew up in a family that things were challenging and then knew enough to go ask somebody outside of their environment or their village or their people to ask for help? Because here's what I'm getting at. I believe if Tony, which he's not a dumb kid, we know that, and he had all the wherewithal possible, and he still didn't feel like he could go to any person in his life and talk about anything. I think that says everything. So anybody that wants to point fingers and say that it was just you, Holly, or just you, Mom, or just me, John, or just Brad, or just anybody in his immediate family isn't really looking at the whole picture. And if you have enough guts to talk about Tony that way and point that finger, you're sure as fuck not looking at the 3 or 4 pointing back at you, because you weren't there for him either. And I know that's the point you're attempting to make. But if he didn't have anybody in his family that he felt like he could go to and talk to, then he took matters into his own hands, which means we all failed him. I know I did. And I can say that not because I felt like I had to be perfect. And Holly, we've talked, and Mom, we've talked, and I know that I was there for him. We all were there for him. And yet still, in the same hand, I could have done more. I could have been better. I could have... So I'm not going to beat myself up for that. I am going to learn from that and work to be as present and open for you, for the boys, for you, for the people that I work with here. So when one of those moments comes up, because they will, everybody has dark clouds that follow them around.
Yeah.
Can you move your darkness aside to allow somebody the space to deal with theirs? I can say confidently, yes, now I can. I literally have a letter from one of my clients who, when she was going through the hardest time in her life, she lost her dad to pancreatic cancer. The gym got hit with a tornado, so her favorite space in the world was taken away from her. And her work was churning, and she was under so much stress. She sent me a letter, and she's like, John, I don't know how you did it, but at the darkest times that you had, you were still able to be there and be present for me in my dark times. Thank you for that. So it came full circle. In my book, I published Tony's letter. You guys know the letter. I'll read that at some other point. Talk about the hardest thing I've ever had to find, to think that, like, my brother literally left a letter that I published in my book that basically said I was not present for him when he needed me, and that at certain times he felt like he had to be the bigger man and put our shit aside so that he could get on with his life because I wasn't able to be a positive force in his life. Nobody can say that to us that wasn't there from that point on and there from that point beyond. So in reality, nobody can really sit there and point fingers and say shit, and you know it. So now at this point, if all you're going to do is be a troll and show up and just say that we're fucked up and that we're hurt and that we should not be telling stories, or we should not even really be talking about these things, come here and say it to our faces. Come here and sit with us in this fire. Come here and give us a reason to stop. Otherwise, this is why we're talking about this, because I have no doubt that there are other people that have probably gone through much worse.
Yeah.
That have received letters and been told to go kill yourself. Jump off a cliff. Take your kids with you.
Take your kids. Take, every ounce. I mean, if you could, honestly, to a mother.
Thank you for making it this far in our show. If you're feeling overwhelmed, that's okay. Just know that you're not alone, that we're here with you, and then we're going to work through this together. If you need some help or assistance, dial 988 or head over to our website, www.iamnotok.com, www.iamnotok.com for a space where you can breathe. And if you want to send us an email and let us know how you're doing, we can get back to you as soon as we can and make sure that you're on the right path. Now, back to the show.
And you're just throwing line after line to get this 6 months after your son passed away. As a mother now, I mean, Mom, I don't know how. I don't know how you were able to stand up, go to work, and you had all this in the background.
I was the only person there for my kids. My kids were the only people there for me. That's how I did it. That's how you did it. That's how you did it. We did it one moment at a time. Incrementally stepping forward and then falling back, stepping forward and falling back. I want to say, first of all, I'm not going to throw any negative adjectives in terms of mental health. I don't know who's crazy. I don't know who's insane. I don't know who's a psychopath or a sociopath or deranged and unhinged. What I do know, however, is that less than 12 hours before this email was sent to me, we were in a courtroom where Brad, as soon as my back was turned getting ready to leave, started screaming at me. I'm insane, I'm a lunatic. What'd you say, face of crazy?
Yeah.
All of these same terms that are now being used in this email. This email, I want to say, was written and sent by Hillary.
Okay.
However, it's a compilation of information or a communication after the hearing between my family members, my mother, my father, Andrea, the two kids that were there. This email has leaked information that I don't think Hillary intended to leak. Okay, so let's start with it's anonymous. It's an anonymous email. I'm sending it from a public computer. I'm sending it from an email account that I registered in your name. You'll never know who sent it. The email was sent to my business address and my personal address. Because it was sent to my business address, the first thing that happened was the email was captured by an application, a security application. It was held for content, either threatening content or something that my employer didn't want coming into their email servers. And so I get a little email that says, this email came in to you, and it was from, this is the address, Mary Jo Bear, we're on to you at yahoo.com, and the subject is my name. And the email said, do you want to look at this? Well, hell yeah, I want to look at this. It's my name. I'm confused. What the heck is this? 2 seconds later, the email's on my desktop. I open it up. Before I finish the second sentence, John, I knew who sent the email. Knowing it and proving it are two different things. Mm-hmm. So like I said, I knew who sent this. Mm-hmm. And the clues are here, first of all. Coming to me from a family member. So Hillary winnows down the suspect pool from maybe several dozen people to 9, right? She eliminated Brad, she eliminated his parents, she eliminated Sandy. There couldn't have been anybody else because those were the only people who evidently considered me part of their family, right? This was sent to me April 8th. I had walked away from the family the prior November in 2007. I was already out of their lives. I said I was done. I walked away, and I never looked back. So to then ambush me in court and send this email telling me, we don't love you, we don't want you in the family, don't email me, don't talk to me, don't. They already had that. They already had what they said they wanted. Mm-hmm. And here we are, coming back again to harass my family. Okay, so this is the context. The first thing I did when I got the email that Hillary didn't seem to be aware of, and I don't know if either you are, when you send an email over the internet, attached to that email is metadata. Do you know what that is?
Yeah, your IP address and all kinds of stuff.
Do you know what it is? Mm-hmm. Okay. Hillary obviously doesn't know that the metadata also travels with the email. And the metadata gives you information as to where the location of the computer was that sent this, right? Mm-hmm. The ISP, the coordinates. Me. It was like
Temple Ambler, right? Isn't that where it came from?
Downtown.
Oh, it was downtown.
Main campus?
Yeah. It was traced there based on the longitude and the latitude in the metadata. She sent it to my place of business, which also allowed me to take advantage of an internet security team. Threatening email. I contacted them, according to my manager, and said, can you help me
see where this is coming from?
Identify any information that I can't see or that I don't understand. And they said, sure. My employer also required me to file a document with the boots on the ground security team.
Okay.
They had an entire building of people that they now have to protect because Hillary decided to send a threatening email to me. Mm-hmm. I knew she wouldn't do anything. I knew none of them would do anything.
Doesn't matter.
Exactly. My employer didn't know that. Mm-hmm. They have to protect everyone in that building. IT security did their investigation. Boots on the ground security team filed a complaint. Then they contacted Whitpin Township Police. The next day, 2 police officers came to my office to take a report. I was required to file that report with the police because my employer required it. This letter was sent to their place of business. So I now have Whitpin Township Police with this information. I have internet security, internet security, IT security. I have corporate security. I have boots on the ground security. When I spoke to the officer, he said to me, the only way to really start the clock ticking on harassment is, did you tell these people, don't ever contact me again, don't call me, don't email me, don't, and I said, no, I didn't say those words explicitly, and he suggested that I send a letter telling them, and I did write one, but I never sent it, and I'll tell you why in a minute. The Officer Buchanan said to me, look, if you want, I'll call the chief for you, my father. And I said, no, I didn't want anybody contacted. And my reasoning was, I had no intention of doing anything other than protecting my family. And the only way to do that is to gather the documentation should anything down the line occur. Once it was all over, John, I got rid of this stuff and you saved it. Remember?
Yeah. Yeah.
Just the insight.
Well, now we can look at it objectively 16 years later with a lot less emotion and finalize our take on it.
Yep.
Because I don't think it's something that we need to come back to or we need to continue to allow to hurt us.
I agree. I don't think that it needs to take up any more space.
Right, I need to get it out.
You know?
I need to get it out.
So here's your shot. What else do you need to say about it?
Like I said, it was a compilation. It was my mother, my father, Andrea,
Yeah, she was a
Hillary,
mouthpiece
Serena.
for everybody else.
Right. And unlike the fast and speedy, leave no evidence of the cremation your son had, that's an accusation that I demanded an immediate cremation in order to hide evidence. What Hillary is saying and what was discussed with my family was that Tony's dead because I killed him. I murdered my son. Whether it was literally or whether I pushed him,
That's what you think they said.
that's exactly what they said.
Okay.
I have no real feelings, no remorse, no love. How does a person who doesn't know me know these things?
Accusations.
Oh, the other person that was there was Brad and Sandy. I forgot about that, right. So anyway,
Sandy was in court that day?
yeah, they all were.
I didn't know that.
It was Brad, Pop, Graham, Sandy, my father, Andrea,
Hillary, Monica.
Hillary and Serena.
Hillary and Serena.
Yeah,
Hillary and
Monica's
Serena.
there. And Austin.
They all attended a hearing at Small Claims Court.
Okay.
Okay?
Yep.
Wouldn't they had no reason to be there. They had nothing to add to the proceedings. They had no evidence, no facts. My father walked into that courtroom that day, the former police chief,
Yep.
ready and willing to perjure himself on the stand should he be called.
Yeah, well. Okay.
Okay, what? Say it.
I'm going to spend less time talking about that guy. So I
Okay,
don't really have
I-
anything to say.
I
I'm
have
just
to.
kind of like,
All right.
I'm kind of just like, whatever. Another thing that like he fucking did or said. Like, so.
So until you have me on a chopping block, we'll definitely be getting you an autopsy. Who's we, Hillary? That's one of the other aspects of this. The email itself was written by her. However, she uses the term we, she uses the term us, and because she didn't make the distinction as to who she's including in these terms, I have to err on the side of caution here. I have to believe that my entire family is part of this. So she takes that conversation she had with her family and publishes some of that information and sends it to the enemy.
Yeah.
Okay, when you're in Poppy's inner circle, that means you sit there, keep your mouth shut, agree with him, and you sure as hell don't tell anyone what went on in that room. That's part of the implicit injunction, being a part of his inner circle.
It sounds like she went to our school where we're publishing what she published. So.
Okay, so anyway, yes, she's saying that I demanded a cremation immediately, that there was no post-mortem, okay,
Yep.
because I'm hiding evidence. Now, I do want to say about making arrangements for Tony's service. I went to the funeral home.
Yeah.
with Brad, with Poppy, with Andrea,
Okay, yeah.
and the funeral director. We're sitting around the table.
I remember you telling us about it.
Everything that was discussed regarding Tony's service was said at that table.
Okay.
I never spoke to the funeral director one-on-one, not when I was there that day, not on the telephone. I never went back and spoke to her. So to suggest that the fast and speedy leave no evidence of cremation is a lie. Poppy, Andrea, and Brad were sitting there. They know what I said. I didn't make any decision without his input.
Okay.
Okay?
But that's your son, Brad's son.
Right.
Poppy and Andrea have no fucking say in how we decide to do whatever we do with your son, because John and I weren't there. But I don't know how you feel about being buried in the ground, but
very similar to Tony.
Correct. That's what Tony wanted. That's what we have all wanted.
I would like to think that what we ended up doing with Tony's ashes is what exactly he would have wanted, and without really caring about what everybody else wanted.
Who gives a fuck what everybody else wants?
At the end of the day, I'm not going to say that I understand the everybody being at the casket to say goodbye, or people being around as we do the releasing of the ashes. There's sort of like that ceremonial part of it as well. At the end of the day, because we were not able to sit down like fucking adults and talk about this, I believe some people missed out on what actually happened because we did what was right for Tony and not what was right for them.
Correct.
Had we all been able to sit down and actually have a real conversation about it, we most likely would have gotten to the place where we could have done something for Tony, but we didn't. And it took over 5 years after the fact until we were... I finally reached a point where I was like... And it might sound egotistical, but I was sick of looking at my brother sitting on a fucking... in a box, in a bag. That's not who Tony was. That's not his spirit. And I don't care if he wasn't physically here anymore. Whatever was left of him, to me, was canned up and stuffed away. That was not okay with me. And yes, I made that decision. Anybody that's mad about that, come talk to me about that. Because I'm the one that decided that it was time for Tony to be free. Fully and whatever. So if you don't like that I made that decision, we can talk about it, and I have a place where you can do that with me. Okay? But I don't care if you don't like it because it wasn't about you.
Correct. None of this is about you.
Are any of you two upset at me for kind of coming to that and maybe forcing that to happen?
Not at all.
No.
Or where he was placed?
Nope.
Okay. Then that's all I wanted to care about, because at the end of the day, we wanted him to rest in peace.
Yeah.
And you guys are okay with how he is now?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I wanted him to be free.
I wanted him to be free too. I do not want to be buried myself. I don't.
Me either.
It just doesn't feel right.
What about you, Mom?
You already know how I feel about it.
Okay, so
we're going up in smoke.
Oh, I should say it. It's on film.
Literally.
I wish to be cremated.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. This is my point. So then someone can't point at John, point at me, and say, "Oh, you killed your mom off." No.
Well, they might be.
We all want to
that.
be cremated and not stuffed in a box. And that's our decision. And that was Tony's decision. And I just wanted to make that point. Go ahead.
Cool.
John, I do want to say.
Yeah, please.
You're being far more generous than I am. You said, I know that this letter came from a place of hurt. It came from a place of anger.
Yes, I can look at things objectively that way now. Sure.
And I'm much more petty, I guess.
I don't know if that's the right word.
What word
think
would you use?
are probably still hurt. I don't know if petty is the right word.
You're right. Petty isn't the right word.
Because you would be petty if you wanted to continue to talk about that and we let you, and that's where you wanted to stay. And I don't believe that's what you want. I believe you have something you need to say about it, and I would love to hear it.
Well, I mean petty in the sense that I don't give a damn what she was feeling in the moment. I don't give a damn what any of them
Cool.
we're feeling in the moment.
Maybe you shouldn't as his mom.
I don't.
Which is fine.
I won't.
Good, cool. So why don't get it out?
I am.
Because that would be a lot more fun to listen to and hear than fucking talking about them.
Okay, now I know that none of this will affect you because you don't have a conscience or a heart. Oh, no, that's not it. What the hell is it? Oh, yeah, it is. Let's see. Know that you're being watched, that everything you've done for the last 25 years is being documented. Yes, we have a file to use against you in court. This is the evidence that substantiates what I've always known. I've always been stalked by my family. I've always been harassed. My former husband, my family, spent these years colluding with each other, and then they attempted to make me feel insane, that I'm being paranoid.
Yes, I believe that used to be the old playbook for most people, i.e. like when you're out in public, put on the face, everything looks good, and then if everybody looks good in public, but they can make that one person look nutty, then all eyes can be on the nut bag and not them. Mm-hmm. And it takes everybody's attention away from the fucking horrible shit they're most likely doing.
Well, we did talk about this a little bit, and this is such classic abusive behavior where the abusive parties, the aggressive parties, will corner you in private, and they'll do something terrible to you in private.
Behind closed doors.
Behind closed doors. And then if you attempt to say to this one, this happened, or say to that one, suddenly, I'm insane. That didn't happen. I don't know what you're talking about. Right?
Yeah.
My mother was famous for that. Hillary, Little Miss Anonymous. This, like you said, is from the playbook. This is now the third generation in this family following the same rule book, following the same script. This is intergenerational dysfunction at its finest. And when you start using the same terminology across these families, maternal side, paternal side, what's his name?
Brent.
What did he tell you? You're a psychopath?
Yes.
Okay? Same terminology.
Yes.
That's the point when I said it matters where, or the source of the information, to trace it back. You have to have, what the hell am I trying to say? I knew that these people were doing these things, right? But I didn't have the evidence because they were all very careful back then. Now, because Tony died, and these people were incandescent with rage at me, everything started to leak out. Every one of my family members told me that they were participating in all of this all along. And I'll get into that, another time. But yeah, they're gonna, I've been followed for 25 years. What the hell's that? You won't talk to me, but you'll follow me for 25 years? That's ridiculous. We have a file to use against you in court. I write this letter because I want to make it more than crystal clear. You're not wanted in this family any longer. Hillary, I left your family. At least 5 months prior to you and your family ambushing me in court. At least 5 months prior to you sending this email. You tell me you want me to kill myself and take my children with me. And then, as Holly said, you contact her. Oh, Mimi has a right to meet a great-grandchild. Oh, we want to get a picture of the grandchildren for Mimi for her 90th birthday. That was the other thing I wanted to ask you in a minute. So you don't want me in the family. That's great because I don't want to be in the family. We believe that you were sincerely hurting for the loss of your son. But in fact, it must have been exhilarating for you. Where did you come up with that, Hillary? Which one of your family members decided that it was exhilarating? I'll tell you who it was. It was your grandfather. I know who said what in this email, Hillary. I know how my father spoke. I know how he wrote. I know his verbiage and his syntax, and I know that about the rest of my family. When you copy someone's homework, Hillary, make sure you switch it up. Yeah, I'm angry today, and I don't apologize for it. I think I'm missing a page of this, but let's see. It was another chance for me to be center stage. The third act must go on. Can I ask both of you a question?
Who first?
You.
Okay.
Can you identify one situation where I demanded to be the center of attention?
The only situation I remember where I just believed that you were the center of attention, not because I knew or whatever, without getting too deep into it, I was pulled out of school at 8 years old to go to court to testify between you and Dad. Mm-hmm. I remember you walking into that courtroom like your shit was on fire, couldn't stink, like, but I believe most likely because you had to be ready for him. You had to be on. So it was the only time where I remember where everybody whipped around and looked at you as the center of attention. I don't know that that was you demanding to be the center of attention.
Okay,
fair enough. Fair?
Fair enough.
Okay.
No, not once. In fact, I would be put on center stage before, you know what I mean?
Yes.
You'd be back here. Always. My entire life.
So now,
I can't remember a time even trying to get a picture with you. Do you know what I mean? And that's such a little center stage.
That's true.
It's such a little center stage, but it's big enough for me to know that you wanted to be in the background. You never were demanding of me.
No. And in particular, never with these people. Certainly not Hillary. She was never in my life. I was never in her life. My family didn't want me around, and that's what they got. Mm-hmm. I don't go where I'm not wanted. I never have, and I never will. When my family told me we don't want you, I stayed away. No phone calls, no nothing. That's the opposite of center of attention. That's why I asked both of you. Mm-hmm. And I'd love for anyone else to help me with that definition.
Yes.
It's a fair question.
Yeah, for sure.
There seems to be a disconnect between my understanding of these terms and their understanding.
It's like there was a disconnect between me and you and how we were talking, and I thought I was saying one thing and you thought you were hearing another. So there is a huge disconnect. So let me throw this out there. Hillary, Monica, Serena, Austin, Andrea, Tina, Brad, Kevin, Jamie, Brent. I would like to formally invite you all to come and sit here and tell us what we're saying that's wrong. Please tell us your truth, even if you believe it is different than our truth. Maybe you think we're telling stories and you have what's real. We would really like to know that. Or at the very least, can you publish it so we can talk about it and get through it? Because we'd really like to know why you did what you did, and maybe you want to know why we did what we did. Or if you don't, then yeah, it comes to the point, because you said something here, Mom, that sometimes you drop things without context.
Yes.
Hillary, you reached out to me and my sister, Holly, how long ago was that? 4 or 5 years now?
Well, my son is going to be 8, so
And he was
7
like
and a half.
4.
No, he was an infant. He was
He
a
was
baby.
a baby then? So really, it was like 2017, maybe 18? Mm-hmm. Okay. So in 2017 or 2018, Hillary, and I believe, Serena, you might have sent one too. But Hillary, I know you reached out to me and I didn't respond to you. Holly did. Katie, you too. Come talk to us. I'm sorry I forgot you there, but so you reached out and asked Holly and me to come take a picture with Mimi because Holly had a baby. So her son, my nephew, my mom's grandson, and the gist or the hook that you used to attempt to make us come was, quote, Mimi deserves to have a picture with her great grandson. Here's what I'm going to say to you now. None of you deserved anything from us, like we deserve nothing from you. That picture would have taken place had we had any of these conversations years ago, because that's what families do. They talk through the hard shit, they deal with it, and they work together to make sure that the next time something horrible comes up, they get through it better as a village. We all did not do that. So me, my mom, and my sister, that's what we're doing now. Maybe it's too late. Maybe you don't understand why we're talking about all these things. I'm going to tell you exactly why we're talking about these things. We're talking about them once so that we can get our minds beyond this dumb shit and move on to the most important phase of our lives. I personally would actually love to offer you guys the space so that you could come here and at least have those conversations with us. And then if we never talk again, I believe the rest of your life might actually be better than it is now. You're not missing out on anything. It would help us and you, despite your nose coming off your own face. I don't know why. But again, as nicely and as calmly as I can, because I know I can be hype, and I am the first to admit I am king asshole. I am the motherfucking best asshole there is in this family.
I taught you well.
That's right. I learned from the best. So please, if you have anything else you really want to say or get off your chest, I personally needed to get to the point where I was ready to talk about it. I am. When you're ready, we're here. Now, you were saying.
I was saying, let's see. Why didn't I go string him up myself? Hillary. You're such a narrow-minded, abusive individual. And I know you said, oh, maybe they changed. I'm telling you right now, there's been no change. Okay?
You know what? Without them sitting here, you can't say that, but I respect your opinion on that.
Okay. But based on the information, like I said, that's come in over the last 16 years, that it's very minimal information.
It is.
But it tells me nothing has changed.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah.
That's my opinion, and I stand by it. So, as you suspected, oh, here. No one wants to hear from me. Save your fucking breath and spare all of us. Hillary, you had that. I had already walked away from your family. You know I did. What are you telling me here? You don't want me in the family? I wasn't in the family. I ruined your lives by taking Tony away from you.
Holly spoke to that earlier. You weren't in his life.
Yeah. That was
None of them were in his life.
Good.
Not just for 5 minutes. They weren't in Tony's life for years.
They had the same blood or similar blood, but it was the birthday party existence, you know. Birthday parties, summers.
When
happy
Tony
times.
needed his family, and I have the evidence when I spoke to his father. Tony needed his family.
Yeah.
I contacted family. And every one of them failed to step up. But I took Tony away from them.
Their opinion. Which holds no weight.
Correct.
I'm so fucked up, I'm beyond repair. You've said your piece along with several others.
You are fucked up, just not beyond repair.
All right, so let me tell you.
We're all fucked up.
I traced the metadata.
Just not beyond repair.
Because by association.
Well, of course we're all screwed up. Anyway. You're not going to help me. No, send no more letters. Nobody sent you anything, Hillary.
Yep.
I wrote one letter. I said, I'm done with all of you. I walked away and never looked back. So your letter was typed on a public computer, sent to me from an email address that was registered in my name, so you'll never, ever know who sent this. Come meet me, Hillary. I'll show you exactly how I determined you sent this, along with the input from the police and from the security team. I forgot. I sent this to district court the very next day when I got it.
Cool.
Because I knew they had arrived.
So you have a record of it now.
Yeah.
Everybody in the world has a record.
Yeah.
Court has a record. What do you actually need to say to Hillary now? Because you've gone line by line. I'm happy to not talk about her anymore unless she comes and sits right here with us.
What I have to say to you, Hillary, is be gone. You have no power here.
Cool.
That's what I have to say.
Love it.
Do you have any?
No, I put my 2 cents out there on tape. I think that I've said what I need to say, like to the remaining members that would exist in our family. I meant it. Come here and talk to us. Even if it's just with me, I'm not afraid of any of you. I actually believe that I can sit here and, while I used to be very reactive, I actually believe I could sit here with every single one of you to understand what happened from your point of view, what you need to say, and let you say it. That way it's out of us, it's in the world. Tony can truly rest in peace. I know you want that. We want that.
Oh, I am missing a
And we want to live our lives.
Your insane actions and ludicrous accusations have cost each of us our beloved Tony. You drove him to the point of no return. He has verbally told several family members that he did not believe you loved him. And son of a gun, Tony was right. You're a mom.
I am.
You know children.
I do.
Do you know any child who at some point in their life didn't think my parents don't love me or my mother doesn't love me?
Yeah.
Yeah? How about you? Did you ever feel that way?
Yeah.
Because I know I did. And when I said my family doesn't love me, they tell me I'm insane. Now they're telling me my son told them, my mother doesn't love me. Tony wouldn't have confided in anybody unless he trusted them. Do you agree with that?
I mean, I agree with that, but he was also 19 and 20 years old, so I think he might have said some things to people that maybe he didn't know that he couldn't trust.
You mean like his cousins?
Maybe.
Yeah, I mean, he could have said, I don't think my mother loves me.
Yeah. So.
But they've all said that.
Right,
To
that's
me, you
it.
know what
Right,
I mean?
about their mom and whatever.
I've said
So,
that,
yeah.
you know?
It's
So,
taking
yes.
one moment in time.
Yeah.
Well,
right?
of course. They're putting everything in there to make you look bad of everything that they might have thought or they did or whatever was told to them or said to them or they pieced together.
Or that your life should be judged for one bad moment.
Correct.
Like,
Correct.
That's not how life works. We might have some bad moments in life for our whole life to be cast under the umbrella of one challenging decision. Not only is that not fair, that's not even how, you can't look at the totality of somebody's life in one decision.
Your life is not defined by any of that.
That's like saying Tony's life is defined by his decision to leave life.
No, right.
And it's not.
It's not. It's not. He has a million other things.
I hope you and your firstborn son, who now thanks to you is an unemployed, drug-addicted psychopath, just like his mommy, have a nice life, holed up in that fucking crazy bin of a shitty apartment you have to live in because we will not help you. That's right. We won't help you. Let's see. And before I'm done with this letter, I'm sorry that it isn't as long as some of your novellas. That's not your word, Hillary. That's your grandfather speaking. I'd like to say that I read almost every letter that you sent your parents, your sisters, your nieces and nephews, and would like this opportunity to invite you to get the fuck over Brad. You're the one with the complex about that relationship. Yes, you left him, but it was the best thing you ever did for him. You know what, Hillary? I'm so glad that you said that. It was the best thing I did for myself and Brad. You'd think it would have been a win all the way around, Hillary. However, explain to me or help me understand why he wanted so badly to be away from me, he spent the next 20 years colluding with my family to ambush me every time I turned around. You see, Hillary, I was thrilled to walk away from my husband. It was the best thing I did for me. And I never, not once, colluded with anyone. to get back into his life. Help me understand how you reached this conclusion, Hillary. Are you a drug-addicted psychopath, by the way?
I don't know.
Okay.
Maybe. Kind of like fucking everybody in this world.
So, it was the best thing I ever did for him. Not even to quote another of your letters, the known abuser. Yes, Hillary, everyone in your family saw him abuse me and my children, Hillary. That's the reason I use that term. Brad knows he's an abusive man. My family knows he's abusive. But he doesn't deserve my shit. He didn't get my shit, Hillary. I did everything in my power to walk away from that man. I'm fucked up beyond repair. Okay. At any rate, Hillary, the email was written by you, it was sent by you, it was a collaboration between you and the family members that were in court. Let's talk, Hillary. I have more to say.
Do you have anything to say, Holly?
No, I would just like to see who the first one who's going to show up.
Oh, that was the other thing I wanted to discuss
To speak
quickly.
and talk. Go ahead, get it out.
She said it was my family, somebody in my family who sent this email.
Mm-hmm.
You go through the people in your family and you say, I faced off against my father, Andrea, my mother, in the past.
Mm-hmm.
None of those people ever sent me an anonymous email, letter, or phone call.
Mm-hmm.
The chances of them doing it right now, slim to none, right? That left two people in the family in that courtroom, Hillary and Serena. I don't know either of them very well.
Yeah.
I do, however, know Serena would never write an anonymous email. Serena would walk right up to you, look you dead in the eye, and tell you what she thought.
And how old was she at that point? I don't believe that was even in her
Realm of possibility.
realm of abilities.
Yeah.
Like I don't think that's
Right, exactly. I don't think it is either.
Yeah,
But
so-
if it were, she wouldn't have done this. She'd have strode across that courtroom and looked me dead in the eye to say what she had
She's
to
a very
say.
in front of
She's
your
more that.
pace.
She's more- that's
Yes.
why maybe her instead of Hillary.
Nope.
might be.
Yeah. But I don't.
Which I would love.
I don't
Please,
think
Serena,
Hillary
come
would
talk.
ever. Hillary is not good at confrontation, face to face.
Interesting.
She's not.
So you know
I've told
that
her
you-
all about herself.
You know that.
And she hides. Yep.
Gotcha. All right, well, maybe she's changed. Maybe she got better with that.
Maybe she has.
I would love to
guess
hear
we'll
a conversation
see.
with you two bitches. That would be amazing.
I have to sit across so I can look.
Different. We could put a cage between you two. It could be a steel cage match. You
Listen,
know,
I'm
whatever.
not going to jail for her.
No.
No. You don't have to put a cage.
No, I really do.
I can be an adult.
But seriously, the two of you guys would not mind having conversations with anybody
Absolutely
who's...
not.
Yeah.
Let's go.
All right.
Who
Cool.
wants to do it?
Yep.
At any rate, the final thing I wanted to say
Final
here
thing.
is-
Wrap it up, Mom.
The final thing I wanted to say. It left Hillary as the only person with the means, a public computer, the motive, hate, and the opportunity.
Yeah.
College campus.
There you go.
Yeah, when you narrow it down that way.
There's a lot more that went into this. But the investigation wasn't just me. That's the point I'm trying to make. And the letter itself contains evidence that helped me go down the right path to determine who the most likely culprit is.
Well, look,
Hillary.
I'm not saying I can argue with you. And I think at this point, personally, like I said, I've already invited everybody on here, and I told Holly off camera on a phone call, but I was like, I will DM all of them and invite them too. Just like I got a rando DM and asked to come on to take a picture. So I can do the same
Wait.
and send a DM back.
Didn't Mimi like your posts on Facebook? Remember you told me about that?
Yeah, actually, yeah. So I think Catherine Hansley had a Facebook profile. Pretty sure at least one or two of my posts on bare knuckle strength, if I go back long enough, she liked it. Like, clicked the like button. Or somebody with access to her profile did. Because, yes, one day I should have taken a motherfucking screenshot. I don't think that I did. Yeah, it was weird when you see Catherine Hansley and then realize that your grandmother's on Facebook and like out there and doing stuff, but not talking to you. It was interesting to see that.
My mother hated technology, John. She didn't have cable TV. I don't even think she had a big TV. She had a little portable one. She listened to the radio. Mm-hmm. The only reason she had a cell phone, I'm sure, is because Andrea or Tina insisted she have one.
Probably.
Mimi wouldn't have been on the internet looking for bare knuckle strength to like your posts on Facebook. Let's be real, John.
Cool. Fair enough, yeah.
They couldn't get to you by sending you a message directly, so now they're going to use another technique. They're going to use Mimi. And you told me Andrea's profile and Hillary's disappeared when that Mimi profile showed
I remember,
up.
I believe Hillary's did, yeah. Maybe Andrea's did, I don't remember. But yeah, yes, I remember that happening now. So yeah, Mom.
All of it, what I'm trying to say here again, this is what these families do. In the dark.
This is what our family did. Maybe
Right.
other families do this, but we're not going to. This is what our family did.
What I'm saying is, when the abuse happens, it happens in secret like this. And then it continues in secret. Hillary, I'm absolutely certain, this is my opinion, but I'm absolutely certain Hillary, up until now, has been under the impression that she got away with that. She has no idea that
Probably.
everything was traced to her. And furthermore, she has no idea that her grandfather received a copy of it as well.
How about them fucking apples, huh?
That'll be another conversation. But again, the last thing I said to my father, words.
Like the last words you ever said to him?
No,
or?
actual words. He still sent me a bunch of fucking letters.
Yeah.
Okay? The last words I said to him were, I'm going to protect my family, Dad, from anyone.
Okay.
Including you. Mm-hmm. That infuriated him until he got all the evidence that I sent him. I finally said, you know what? I'm done with these people. I sent him every bit of evidence. I gave him names, telephone numbers, serial numbers.
And heard nothing back.
Of course not.
Interesting.
But I'll tell you what, again, my opinion, it's my opinion. Poppy verified everything and said, oh, shit.
Oh, exactly. Well, that's why you heard nothing back.
Right.
Yes, exactly.
That's exactly why
Because
you
you
heard
would have
nothing
if
back.
it wasn't true.
Exactly.
So there you go. So is that the final bow, the point?
That's my
you
finale
wrapped it
for
up?
the day. I want to thank everyone who is listening and watching our videos. It's really gratifying to know that we're all helping each other here, and I appreciate it.
Good. So, Mom, if that's the last point, Holly, do you have any other points? Because I'm going to ask Mom a question to finish up.
I just hope someone reaches out and comes on here with us, because I think that, obviously I know my truth. Mom knows her truth. You know your truth, and it's all our truths, right?
So,
but you might have your truth.
Yep. And I want to
Let's hear it.
I really do.
Right.
Yep.
'Cause-
And Mom,
Yes.
if we don't get the opportunity to have somebody sit here and have that truth spilled, what would you say to Hillary if she was sitting here, to her face?
Walk away, Hillary. You don't have the gravitas to take me on.
Interesting. Hillary, I hope you hear that. I do hope that you have the courage to come speak your truth. To everybody else,
The offer's on the table.
does anybody else out there have a situation where you have been stalked or abused by a family member, whether online or on a telephone call or in a letter anonymously? We'd love to hear about it, so we're going to start sharing even more of ours. Guys, thank you so much for being here. Have a wonderful day. Peace. Thank you for listening to our show. If you're interested in how we've gotten this far, I've put together a small guide that has a 3-step process at no cost. You can get that at www.iamnotok.com/truth. www.iamnotok.com /TRUTH. Thank you so much. Look forward to seeing you on the inside. Be well.